I never really had the classic struggle. I had faith. Denzel Washington. My friends, faith takes you a long way if you dedicate yourself today that no matter what happens, I'm going to master these charts. I'm going to figure out how to trade stocks, ETFs, commodities, whatever it is that is charted. ETNs, ETFs, stocks, bonds, gold, you name it, you're going to learn it. You can do it here. And it just takes time and it takes faith that you can do it. And you can do it. You can. I'm your biggest fan. Let's jump into these charts and see what's here. First, we will go to the weekly. On the S&P 500, what do you see? Well, we had the STC rotate going down all the way back in January. We had 3 weeks where things popped up, and then over these last 3 weeks, deteriorating. In fact, today, on Friday, big down day, 2.74%, boom. Now, as we get closer, you're going to see the beauty of this method when it comes to the half day. We see, of course, what are we right here? We are a 10 when it comes to our method of valuing the waves. That is very important for you to understand, look at, and again, study. The study that we have on that is the success multiplier. Now today, I'm going to actually be sharing the success multiplier with you. It'll be in your show notes. If you're not a subscriber, then by all means go and subscribe. You get all the free training. You get good ones launched to you each and every day. I encourage you to take them. If you've already taken one, it's been a while, and you see it show up again, take it again. It doesn't hurt to refresh. But the success multiplier is basically us putting in the value of the waves that are pertaining to our trade. What do we see here? We see a 10. It is, of course, 10 times the value, the weekly is, of the half-day chart. Why? Well, there are 5 days in a week, correct? And there's how many half days in a day? 2. 2 times 5 is 10. So we value the wave there. So we have a 10 going down. We'll just list that as a negative 10. The reason we're doing that, you'll see as we get closer. Look at where we are on the 2-day. Of course, it rotated over going down. Back on the 13th, we saw it go into the red. Prior to that, it had been green and going up, and then it started tanking also. So we had 4 more points, so we're at a 14. Now we go over to where we were with the half day. The half day had gone to green back on the 19th. You could see that happen in the afternoon, and it moved up. And of course, once it starts moving through this 200 EMA, exponential moving average line, we're looking for a potential long trade. We weren't excited about that because the 2-day and the half day were the only things we had going for us. The big chart, and as we say, all things being equal, market tends to move in what direction? The direction of the largest chart. It was still quite negative. And what happened? It died on the vine and switched over. The minute it moved down, pushed through the 200 EMA, we went into a potential negative trade. Of course, what happened then, when I say negative trade, a short trade, something like SH. What does SH do? It is the inverse of the S&P 500. It's the single inverse. It's not one of those multiple inverses like a 2 or a 3x or whatever. It's just a single inverse. So when the S&P goes down, SH goes up. I've always encouraged you guys to practice that. We have a great training on inverse funds, how to make money when markets crash. That's something, you know what? I'm going to make a note right now. I'm going to put that at the end of today's video for you guys. I don't think I've put that out in a while, and it will help you understand the inverse funds that go along with these funds that we track every day that give you opportunities. You're not an options trader. Now, of course, if you are a Patreon supporter, you get those trainings on options. Our 3-part series, Options Made Simple, The Charting Wealth Way. Just another reason to be a Patreon supporter. We'll get that right out to you. Now, what did we see happen? Well, we saw the bounce off and we saw things rotate over and go down. Now, as that started occurring, of course, what happened? Well, we saw the 2-day rotate over, and of course, we quickly turned into a negative 15. Jumping into that down move the minute that started heating up, of course, we use again, that other training that we've just recently put out for you guys when it comes to using the average true range to help you in, again, making sure that you are being smart about volatility. That average true range came to the rescue and got you into this trade, making sure to account for volatility. And of course, as you look here, let me spread this open a little bit for you so you can see it. You can see that we set the average true range with a stop with a loss limit of 1.62%. And of course, we wanted to double that, our 2-to-1 ratio that we want to risk half of what our potential reward is, 2-to-1. So what did we do? We set our target limit at 3.24, and you can look in just 2 candles after the entry point with all of the strong down moves over the following day. What happened? Boom. You saw us capture that down move, 3.24%, and it was beautiful. And again, you can track that likewise on SH and see how it works. Of course, the same thing could have applied for you jumping into options. And then, it depends on what your delta is, what your vega is, what all those things that we teach on the Greeks course that we also send out to our Patreon members. So, a successful trade on that down move where things cranked over from a +5 to a negative 15 in just a short time span. That's the kind of stuff that all of those training teach you, that we've just put out, that we've been sharing like crazy. The wave technique, the ATR training, the always winning method, the golden ticket, and the success multiplier. All those came into play to give you an option. And my friends, I want you to be practicing these things because you think markets are crazy now as we've gotten into earnings season, moving into the summertime trading zone. With what's going on in the world, it's going to get crazier and crazier. I've been tracking a lot of options contracts, a lot of commodities, options too. Options have been on my mind a lot, but commodities, really been into commodities lately. I'm going to be sharing that with you as we move along. Now let's go back to the weekly and let's look at what's up with the Nasdaq 100. Well, the Nasdaq 100 down not quite as much, almost as the S&P, down 2.62%. Red down candle, we've been red since January. Again, 2 weeks of some up movement, and then for the last 3 weeks, just moving on down, following in the direction of that weekly STC. What do we see on the weekly? Well, you can see where the weekly on the 2-day also flipped over. Now, it flipped over after a potential down move there, and we'll get into that. We've talked about this one before, but I'll show it to you again. What do we have happen over the course of the day on Friday? Penetrating the 200 EMA, heading down quite strongly, and we see that occurring. Now, that's on the 2-day, the 2-day penetrating the 200 EMA. So again, that gives us what? That gives us 10 from the weekly and another 4 from the 2-day. Again, the 2-day is 4 half days, right? Yes. Now, here's the trade we had earlier back on April the 15th. You can see, April the 5th, sorry. You can see where that generated with it's hard for me to do this without activating the little, there we go. If you look just to the left of the hand, you see where that red down candle touches the 200 EMA. That was our jumping in point. And over the course of just a few days, we also hit that loss band, and that was another profitable move. And of course, it accelerated even more Thursday afternoon and Friday, hammering down, but we had already taken our 4.32% chunk and moved on. Okay, and again, I want you to notice that when you have things penetrating above and below this 200 period, 200 EMA, exponential moving average, you will find over and over again that can be a real acceleration point for up moves and down moves. So it's important to know where you are in your success multiplier and what you're looking at jumping into and how powerful those bigger waves are for you. And again, all the trainings we've done in the past with the 2-day recross, the weekly vertical crossover, all those, that again on the 2-day and weekly charts is where you go from green to red and from red to green. I mean, again, on the bigger charts, those things are still in effect. So keep that in mind. I'm just trying to give you some options in these crazy markets that as we move forward, you're practice trading so you have more possibilities. Now, let's go back to the weekly. A few more charts to go through. What do we see going on with 20-year bonds? Just continuing to rocket down. Down 0.63% for the day. Weekly has been heading down since early January. What do we see on the 2-day? 2-day, we had that 2-day recross going down. That occurred on March the 8th. And but for a 4-day period where things slid sideways and up a little bit, never went out of the red, just continuing to hammer down. That 2-day recross has been very good to you. It, of course, allowed you, when it switched over, to take some profit and then to have a chance to jump back into another down move on that intermediate chart. What about the half day? Well, the half day has been moving up. Are those moves that we would take on these up moves or this down move here? No, the reason, when you're inside the band, you can see these two lines. We don't mess with any changes there. We want moves to be from the top down or the bottom up. But we're not going to take this up move. Why? Because we're below the 200 EMA. That's down moves that we want to be looking for. Always, we're looking for down moves like you see happen when it went from green to red. We had, again, a beautiful trade. Let me show you another little trick, another thing I have learned by doing both practice trades and successful and unsuccessful trades. This is a key to your success. Pay attention to what I'm saying right now. It'll be worth its weight in gold. When you have these opportunities to jump into either a down move or an up move, I want you to pay attention. When the move is going to be successful, it's going to almost always be a move that is successful with a nice deep slide either down or up, and you don't have the STC reversing on you, sort of a short-term reverse and then back. The minute you see things go in the opposite direction, look for trouble. And if you can't take your chunk out of the initial down move and things start moving up against you, a lot of the time, it's not time for you to stay in that. You can cut yourself out of that trade early and then find another potential point to jump in later, or just find another stock or ETF to trade. But your good moves are always going to be a solid either down move or a solid up move where your STC doesn't fluctuate on the short chart. That's been my experience. I just urge you to practice and see if that is not your experience. If it starts going sideways on you, starts to move up, candles aren't like solid red on a down move or solid green on an up move, get a little antsy. And if you just take a smaller profit and get out, hey, no harm, no foul. If it then goes into the other color and then reverts back, it might give you an opportunity to jump back in. But remember, it's all about cutting your losses as well as making profits. But losses are the things that kill you. That is where we are on bonds. Let's go to gold on the weekly. I keep wanting gold to recover. Gold is still green on the weekly. So gold is still up on the weekly. It's been an indecisive week with that green spinning top you can see. Now let's take a look at where gold is on the 2-day. In fact, we need to update this number here. What do we currently have? Well, it's not a 14. How do I know that? Because the weekly is up and the 2-day now is down. So it could at least be a 10. If I take a quick look at the half day, I can see that in fact, all we have is a 10. We have the 2-day heading down. We do have the weekly heading up. But if we want to update our chart with our success multiplier, we would put it in right here. We would put in 10. We'll put in the date, 04/22, because I'm recording this on Friday, and we'll stick that right there. And that way we will know where we are at this point. Important for you to keep those things in mind as you move through time and things change for you. Now, we do see on the 2-day, we got 2 down candles there and a red down STC. And on the half day, of course, it is heading down. Now, we're still above the 200 EMA here, so hopefully that could recover. You saw the successful trade that we did in gold when we had that crossover going up. It was a 14 back then, and of course turned into what? A 15 for that up move, and that is as good as it gets. We set our loss limit at 1.84. We had a climb of 2.03. I'm trying to, oh, there it is, I'm sorry. The loss limit was 1.02, so doubled that on our up move, caught that in a very short period of time. And again, look, everything stayed green, everything stayed green. If it's going to work solid, you're going to have green up candles on the entire up move. If it's going to work going down, you're going to have clean red candles all the way down. If you start getting any stuttering, then look for a good reason to jump out. That is where we are right now on gold. I keep just praying and hoping. I want to see gold turn around and hammer up, but that ain't happening yet. Lastly, we'll go back to the weekly. I know I'm getting along in the tooth here. It is the weekend though, and I'm enjoying talking to you. Let's see what's happening on Bitcoin. We can see that we're in the red here. Things are heading down as far as the weekly goes. We look at the 2-day, and again, it just turned to red again with this down movement. Bitcoin, as far as the Bitcoin, this is XBTF. It's the Bitcoin Future ETF, which means you can trade it if you have a stock trading platform. It doesn't charge any fees for stocks or ETFs. Doesn't cost you anything. So it's not like what you'd have to pay at the exchanges. And I like it. I have traded for real XBTF several times, and I do enjoy trading it. It is down for the day 4.26%. And of course, again, adding to that red down movement. We look at what's happened also with the half day. You can see it's below the 200 EMA that just started appearing. Remember, this ETF only got approved and started up in November of last year. And of course, cranking down in the morning and the afternoon. So no recovery yet with Bitcoin is the bottom line. When it does recover and it starts jamming up, we will be ready for it. But we got to have a lot happen between now and then. Negative on the half day, negative on the 2-day, negative on the weekly. So not so good on Bitcoin right now. That is where we are, folks, as we end the day, in the week. Hope that you are excited. Hope that you're going to take some of our new trainings we put out for you over the weekend. At the end of today's video, I'll put the inverse funds, how to make money when markets crash, so you get a feel for that. And I want you to keep practicing. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.